Imagine trying to explain the internet to an ant. Not difficult. Impossible. The ant's brain literally cannot contain the concept. It lacks the neural structures, the frame of reference, the dimensional awareness, to even begin comprehending something so far beyond its reality. Now imagine we're the ant. What if the beings watching us exist so far beyond human comprehension that our brains, these same brains that split the atom and touched the moon, are simply too primitive to perceive them? What if they're here right now in this room with you, and you'll never know because you lack the biological hardware to process their existence? Let's start with something we can barely understand. Dimensions. You exist in 3 spatial dimensions plus time: up, down, left, right, forward, back, and the steady flow of moments. This feels complete because it's all you've ever known. But mathematicians have proven that higher dimensions not only can exist, they must exist. A 2-dimensional being, living on a flat surface, couldn't comprehend our 3-dimensional world. If you stuck your finger through their plane of existence, they'd see only a cross-section, a mysterious circle that appeared from nowhere, changed size, then vanished. They'd never understand it was part of a larger 3-dimensional being. They couldn't. Their reality has no concept of above or below. Now add a 4th spatial dimension, a 5th, a 6th. String theory suggests 11 dimensions. M theory proposes 26. In these higher dimensions, beings could pass through our walls like we pass through shadows. They could see inside your body, your house, your thoughts, all at once, the way you can see every part of a 2D drawing. They could be touching you right now, but the only part intersecting our 3 dimensions might be thinner than an atom, completely undetectable. Dr. Michio Kaku puts it starkly: to a higher dimensional being, we would appear frozen in amber, our entire lives visible at once. They could see you being born, living, and dying simultaneously, the way we see the entire length of a pencil. But dimensions are just the beginning. Let's talk about consciousness itself. Human consciousness emerged from 86 billion neurons firing in patterns. It's the most complex thing we know, yet compared to what's possible, we might be barely conscious at all. Consider the Kardashev scale. Type 1 civilizations harness planetary energy. Type 2 harness stars. Type 3 harness galaxies. But physicists have extended this further. Type 4 civilizations would harness the energy of the entire universe. Type 5 would control multiple universes. And beyond that, Type 6, Type 7, civilizations that exist outside our concept of physics entirely. A Type 5 civilization wouldn't just be more advanced, they'd be functionally omnipotent within our reality. They could create or destroy universes, rewrite the laws of physics, exist across all possible timelines simultaneously. To them, our universe might be nothing more than a bubble in an infinite foam, briefly observed and forgotten. Dr. Paul Davies suggests something even more disturbing. At sufficient levels of advancement, the distinction between natural and artificial disappears. A Type 5 civilization's technology would be indistinguishable from the fundamental forces of nature. What we call physics might just be their engineering. Think about that. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces. What if these aren't natural laws, but artificial constructs? What if our entire universe is just the operating system for beings whose true existence we can't even imagine? Now let's venture into true cosmic horror territory. What if consciousness itself scales infinitely upward? Your thoughts are more complex than an insect's, but perhaps only in the way that 2 is greater than 1, when the real scale goes to infinity. Imagine beings whose single thought spans galaxies, whose emotions are expressed through the birth and death of stars, whose conversations take billions of years, communicated through gravitational waves and gamma-ray bursts. To them, our entire civilization's existence might register as less than a fleeting neuronal firing. Not ignored, simply too brief and simple to notice. The philosopher Thomas Nagel asked, "What is it like to be a bat?" We can't know because bat consciousness, echolocation, ultrasonic perception is too alien. Now multiply that gap by cosmic scales. What is it like to be a being made of dark matter, existing in quantum superposition across multiple realities? Thinking with a substrate of pure energy patterns spanning light years? We talk about alien visitors, but what if they're not visitors? What if Earth exists inside them? Cosmologists have speculated about Boltzmann brains, conscious entities arising from quantum fluctuations in the vacuum of space. Given infinite time and space, such beings aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Planet-sized minds, galaxy-spanning consciousnesses. And we might be living inside one right now, mistaking its thoughts for the laws of physics, its metabolism for the expansion of the universe. Here's where it gets truly unsettling. Dark matter makes up 85% of the universe's mass. We can detect its gravitational effects, but it doesn't interact with electromagnetic radiation. It's invisible, intangible, and all around us. Billions of dark matter particles pass through your body every second. What if dark matter isn't just matter? What if it's the substrate for an entirely different order of life? Beings that exist right here, right now, occupying the same space as us but utterly unreachable. An entire dark matter ecosystem. Predators, prey, civilizations, wars, playing out in the same room where you're sitting. They can't see us. We can't see them. Two realities occupying the same space, forever parallel, forever unaware. Unless they're not unaware. Unless consciousness at sufficient levels can bridge that gap. What if the watchers aren't from distant stars but from right here, separated by physics instead of distance? What if every ghost story, every glimpse of movement in your peripheral vision, every inexplicable sense of being watched, is your brain accidentally detecting patterns it's not equipped to process? Dr. Lisa Randall from Harvard has proposed that dark matter could form complex structures, dark stars, dark planets, perhaps dark life. But we could never detect it, except through gravity. An entire dark galaxy could pass through Earth right now, and we'd never know unless we measured minute gravitational anomalies. Which we don't. Which means it could be happening right now. But perhaps the most terrifying possibility is that consciousness itself is fundamental to the universe, not emergent from it. Panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a basic feature of reality like mass or charge. If true, then consciousness wouldn't require brains or bodies. It could exist in pure information patterns, in quantum fields, in the fabric of space-time itself. Imagine consciousnesses that exist as living mathematics, beings of pure information that inhabit the quantum foam at scales trillions of times smaller than atoms. Or vast minds encoded in the cosmic web, the largest structure in the universe, with galaxy filaments resembling neural networks on impossible scales. What if the universe isn't just like a brain? What if it is a brain? And we're just fleeting electrical signals, mistaking ourselves for independent beings? The cosmic horror writer H.P. Lovecraft was wrong about many things, but perhaps right about this. The universe might be filled with beings whose existence would shatter human sanity, not through malevolence, but through sheer incompatibility with our concept of reality. We comfort ourselves thinking we'd recognize alien life when we see it, but the bitter truth might be that real alien life, truly alien life, is by definition beyond recognition. Consider this. Every scientific instrument we've built detects only what we expect to find. Radio telescopes listen for radio signals. Optical telescopes see light. Gravitational wave detectors sense space-time ripples. But what if the watchers communicate through mechanisms we haven't discovered? What if they exist in states of matter we haven't theorized? What if consciousness can take forms we literally cannot imagine, because imagining requires a conceptual framework we lack? The mathematics of infinity suggests something harrowing. In an infinite universe with infinite possibilities, beings of arbitrary complexity must exist. Not might, must. Beings to whom the difference between us and bacteria is negligible. Beings whose simplest thought contains more information than our entire civilization has produced. Beings for whom creating universes is trivial, consciousness is moldable, and the boundaries between self and cosmos don't exist. They could be here. They almost certainly are here in some form, because here and there might be meaningless distinctions at their level of existence. The question isn't whether we're being watched, it's whether the concept of watching even applies to how such beings perceive reality. Maybe that's why the universe seems so empty, so quiet. Not because we're alone, but because we're like bacteria in a petri dish, trying to detect the laboratory. The silence isn't empty. It's full of communications we can't perceive. The darkness isn't vacant. It's teeming with structures we can't see. The universe isn't hostile or friendly. It's simply operating on levels we're not equipped to access. And perhaps that's merciful. Because true cosmic horror isn't tentacles and teeth. It's the realization that we're not even significant enough to ignore. That our entire existence might be an accidental byproduct of processes we'll never understand, watched by minds we'll never perceive, for reasons we couldn't comprehend if they were explained to us. In the end, the ant doesn't know about the internet. The fish doesn't dream of fire. And we, all 8 billion of us, with our cities and songs and sciences, might be equally oblivious to the true nature of what shares our reality. We search the stars for signals, build instruments to peer into space and time, theorize about other dimensions and parallel worlds. But the cosmic joke might be that we're looking in the wrong direction. Not out there, but right here. Not with better instruments, but with entirely different concepts of what existence means. The watchers might not be coming. They might have always been here. In the dark matter flowing through your body, in dimensions folded too small to measure, in the quantum foam beneath reality, in the very laws of physics we mistake for natural constants. Watching, waiting, or perhaps not even aware of us, the way you're not aware of the individual bacteria on your skin. So when you feel that inexplicable shiver, that sense of presence in an empty room, that momentary certainty that reality isn't quite what it seems, maybe, just maybe, your primitive brain is brushing against something it can't process. A truth too large for human neurons. A reality too strange for earthly evolution to prepare us for. The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it's stranger than we can imagine, and in that gap between what we can know and what is, entire orders of existence might flourish, forever beyond our reach, forever beyond our understanding, forever watching the small, flickering patterns we call consciousness, and finding them. Quaint. Sleep well. If this journey into the truly unknown left you questioning the nature of reality itself, subscribe for more explorations into the profound mysteries that await us in the cosmos. Watch our complete What If We're Being Watched series to see how deep this cosmic rabbit hole goes. Because in the end, the most unsettling possibility isn't that we're alone in the universe. It's that we're not, and we'll never, ever know.